Hi, I'm Christy Conway with Charleston Home and Design Magazine, and I'm in this amazing home on Johns Island with Steve and Tina Bostic of Amerisips. Steve, Tina, how are you doing?
Doing great.
Good, thanks. Thank you so much for having me. This has actually been truly eye-opening. They've been walking me through these homes, telling me a little bit about their process, and now I want to share that with you. So, Steve, can you tell me what makes this home different than any other home on Johns Island?
Well, it was initially designed to be a very energy efficient home, as well as we specialize in indoor air quality. So we start out with very efficient buildings and systems, and we call them high performance buildings. So we also we're a company that does the architecture, the interior design. We also do all the ordering of the product. We're distributors for the product. We sell directly to our homeowners. And we also do the construction. So we're a one-stop shop, so we have control of the whole process.
Okay, so we're in St. John in the Woods, right now on Johns Island. You have a plot of where you sell a plot of land, or someone can buy a plot of land in this development and get a home built by you. Is that correct?
That's correct, and we partner with Carolina One Real Estate in the New Homes Division, so they represent us in selling the land as well as selling the homes.
Can you walk us through that process if someone were to be interested in buying a home in this area? What would they have to go through to get this energy independent home? Well,
first of all, we'd start out by identifying what the customer's real needs are. What size home do they want? What is their budget? We calculate in on the front end the energy savings that we might supply to them through our solar systems, and to come up with an overall budget that fits their budget. We also break it down into monthly payments so that they can see exactly what their payment's going to be. Once we determine what the budget is, and that helps us decide with the customer what style of home that they want, and what size, and what finishes do they want in it. So it's really a front-end process we call a charrette. We sit down with the customer and learn all about their needs, and then put our team together of designers and architects, builders and so forth to really put together an efficient schedule, an efficient budget.
What's the price range for a home in this area?
We're selling in this area from about $450 to about $700.
And what does that include exactly?
Well, that would be everything. That would be everything in the total, from the land to the building to the solar systems. So we have a lot of options available, including the size of the building. We're building in here right now from 1,800 square feet to 3,000 square feet.
And we're in a 3,000 square foot home at this time, right? Okay. And what's included in this home, just as an example?
Well, in this home, the model has been built that pretty much has everything included. It would have all of our energy efficient systems, which would be our heating and air conditioning system, our indoor air quality system. It would have, nice finishes, upgraded marbles and things like that.
So obviously you're using, highly efficient, air systems, but now correct me if I'm wrong, the actual home itself is very energy is it independent or?
Sure.
Okay. What about the exact home, not necessarily the appliances and whatnot, make this a Platinum LEED certified home?
Okay, well, we start out with the envelope. We call it our eco shell. So we use structural insulated panels on our floor, which are 8-inch thick panels that are fully insulated. On our wall system is a 6-inch wall, and then our roof system is 8 inches as well. So we start out with a really tight envelope that's totally insulated, reaching insulation levels of R34, if you know what those calculations are. So then we put very efficient systems in the building. We use Space Pack as our heating and air conditioning system. We use air exchange systems in the building, and we meet and are certified by the EPA for the quality of the indoor air that we produce in the house. So it's building an airtight envelope, highly insulated, and using state-of-the-art systems So we just cut down tremendously in the amount of energy that's used. It's like shrinking the size of the interior requirement or getting rid of waste. So our buildings are very, very efficient. We build from 140 mile an hour winds to over 200 mile an hour winds. So they're structurally strong as well.
What makes them so strong?
Well, it's the structural panels. They're built and designed so that all the structure is in the shell, so that actually the wall systems that we put in are all non-load bearing, and it makes it real easy for the customer to select the way they want their house laid out. We actually are building homes that are just the shell only. They're completely finished on the outside, landscaping and everything in, and then you can come in and select and customize all the interiors, from the tile on the floors to the toilets and all the interior design.
Now, what I find interesting about this scenario that you wouldn't find in a different kind of development is that not only can you pick everything, like some developments you can, but you can even decide where your walls are. Now, you mentioned a little bit about not having load-bearing walls. Can you talk about why you don't have load-bearing walls and why you can choose where your walls are going to go?
Sure. The structure starts out with a very, very strong floor, and then we put the exterior walls up, and we have structure built into the walls. And then the roof system is tied together with what we call glue lams, or structural laminated beams that put the structure in the shell. It would be very similar to what you would see in a construction program for office buildings. You know, they build the shell, and then the customer can come in and select exactly the way they want it. So we've just adapted that idea to our building. So we really don't have to install the wall system as we're moving vertical in the house. All the load bearing is in the exterior.
Now, I know that there are definitely builders that use SIPs, structural insulated panels, but what I find interesting is that you're actually using it for the roof and the floor. How many people are doing that in this area, would you say?
There used to be someone that did SIPs in this area, and I'm not sure they're still in business. But in our case, I don't know of anyone really that's incorporated the whole eco-shell idea, because there are companies around that do sell panels, but no one really does the whole design, the integration, and the construction. It's mainly people that are in the business of panels, just sell panels to builders.
So you build these homes with these SIPs, and that's obviously going to bring down on your energy costs right there. But then to supplement that, to help the bills even further, you mentioned a little bit about solar panels. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. Once you shrink down demand by having more efficient insulated systems, then you can lower the actual amount of equipment that you need. For example, our HVAC system, we build to 1 ton per 1,000 square feet. In a stick-built home, that would be probably 1 ton per let's say 400 to 500 square feet. So we cut down on demand, and then we also supplement the energy bill with solar panels. So in this house, it has 6 kilowatt hours of production of solar system. That equates to a little bit over $1,000 of electrical production. It's probably more like $1,200 a year. So it's $100 a month, let's say. And then when you shrink down the bill, let's say from $300 to $400 of what you would normally pay for an electric bill in a house this size, you've shrunk it down to maybe 100 to 150, and then the solar then will take care of a large percentage of what's left. So I think this house we rated last month, it was $50 electric cost.
That's amazing. So the solar panels, I've had some brief knowledge about solar panels. They're actually different from your traditional panels that I know of. Can you explain why?
Yeah, the photovoltaic panels, which are, they're usually 4 to 5 inches thick, and they come in 4 by 8 panels, and those are mounted on a roof. the system that we use is only about a 1-inch profile, and we actually build it in. It becomes a shingle on the roof, so it's part of the roofing system itself. So they're not nearly as noticeable, if you will.
Obtrusive, I find.
Obtrusive. Yeah, we would never use the other panels. Plus, the other panels are very subject to a lot of salt in the air and degradation of those systems. And the wind can get under them and, you know, wreak havoc. But you're right. I think the main thing is they're very ugly.
You're right. That's what I would notice.
We think these are more of a status symbol. You know, so it's very subtle, but you know you have them, but they're really attractive. They fit in the whole lot.
When driving up, I didn't notice them at all, in fact. And also, you know, they're actually built into the roof, so they're not sitting up and awkward, which I appreciate. I was going to ask something else about the solar panels. They are actually configured in a way, the whole home is, if I'm right, to take the most advantage of the sun. And you're able to do that because you're the builder as well. Isn't that right?
Yeah, we're the designer. So we actually, when we design the building, we orient the roof in such a way that it faces the south. So that's where you pick up, you know, the best range. We call the system that's on the roof a solar array. And so that's in the best line and the best path of the sun on a year-round basis.
And you do that in all your homes, not just in this development?
Oh, absolutely. Sure.
Now, you'd mentioned at one point that if someone were to buy a piece of land and still want an Amerisips home, you could arrange that home to be, you know, obviously most exposed to the sun. You mentioned an example, though, where one couldn't be. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we have a house that we're designing and building in Rushland, right over here on James Island. And that particular location, orienting it to the marsh, means that it's totally out of sync with the sun. So what we actually do for that is design a trellis for the back of the property that, you know, they could set out by the marsh and enjoy the view. But the roof of the little trellis, which is, you know, just a few $1,000s, it's almost like a gazebo, if you know what. And then you can put the solar panels, you know, design and put the solar panels on that.
Well, speaking of buying homes not in this development, do you have the same kind of design capabilities in a different location? Would you still get that whole package of dealing with the designers and whatnot?
Sure. Yeah, wherever we deal with a customer, a lot of our customers would own their own land. There's a lot of Charleston's been phenomenal in the last year. If you look at the real estate numbers of separate lots, or sales are up over 50% year over year. The banks are freeing up more capital for people to buy land, and the people aren't sitting on the land anymore. They're wanting to build something. So we have a number of customers that have purchased their own land, and then we design a custom build for them.
And can you do bigger homes? What kind of range of designs? Obviously, the range is more specific, am I right, in this development, but you could do anything on these other properties, am I right?
Yeah, we actually have an architect that we're working with on a Seabrook house that's going to be, I think, 4,500 square feet. So we're really not limited by size. We're limited more by the customer's desires for, you know, the type of home they want to live in, and so we can elevate homes. We can it's mainly the budget, you know, where they want to live.
Right. It's all about the budget.
Yeah, we're doing things that are $300,000, $350,000 up to, you know, we've done homes up as high as several $1 million. So.
Sure. Okay. Now, how did you get into this business exactly?
Tina, would you like to comment on that?
Well, we owned a design center in Sea Island, Georgia, and did everything on the interior of the home, and just felt like we wanted to do the whole thing, and found a better way to do it with found the SIPS panels. Actually, he was starting to design some panels. He said, "There's got to be a better way to build a house." He was designing them on paper, and then we started looking on the internet. He said, "Gosh, someone's already done it." So we started investigating SIPS panels, and went from there. And just,
that was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Time's flying.
Mm-hmm.
So you were in Georgia at the time. What appealed to you about the Charleston area for a development like this?
gosh, we love Charleston. We were married here and wanted to come back, and this area of the country is growing very, very quickly, and wanted to be here.
So what year did Amerisips start this process?
2009, but
Yeah.
but IDAC was 2003, so we've been in the building industry for a long time.
Now, you weren't originally in the building industry, right?
No, I was a college president. Actually, it was a big interior design college, so
Oh, perfect.
so yeah, it all still falls in place.
So how did you bring her over to the dark side then?
Well, I think at some point in time along the way, I acquired her college, and like she said, they had over 400 students. We had 8 campuses worldwide, and so we really specialized in interior design and architecture, and so that became a natural extension of what we both enjoy. And got tired of boating and being retired, and found ourselves sitting in Sea Island as the largest developer on Sea Island. So doing really large projects and having a good time, as they say, in the day, which was ended about 4 or 5 years ago. So it's really the building industry is now reemerging. It's from a new low, let's say, in over 80 years, I guess. Sure. And so now it's starting to come back, and people are much more. My background is all consumer products, and we've been a CEO of some publicly traded companies in the past, and what we see in consumers today is they really don't want to waste their money. It doesn't matter how much money you have to spend or how little. It's really about how do you spend your money more appropriately. So the big houses that we used to build, 8, 9, 10,000 square feet, people aren't doing that much, and so they're thinking about what they really need. They're thinking about being energy efficient. The level of interest now in green building is going off the charts. The problem is the building industry really hasn't caught up with, with really the customer need. He mentioned LEED certification. That's kind of the platinum standard, if you will, in building. And so you have to comply with many, many rigorous requirements for the quality of the air that you build in, the quality of the building, and all those things are highly measured. And so we've actually, LEED certification is, there are like 4 levels, and we've exceeded the top level, which is LEED Platinum, by more than 10%. And I think there are only a few homes in all of Charleston that even build to that standard.
So we don't necessarily, we can say we're good, or anyone can say they're a good builder, but we actually have someone else who tests us to prove it.
And you said EPA also tested you, right? Can you talk about why you received that certification from the EPA? I mean, you walked me through the process of intaking air. I think that viewers would want to know, how that all works.
She does all those certification work.
Wonderful. Well, our homes are very tightly built, so there isn't a lot of air going in and out of it. Whereas a normal stick-built house, you could open a window, and that's how much air would be going in and out of the house from the leakage. Well, in our house, the window would be cracked about that much, and that's all the leakage you would have in it. So what we have is a system. It's called an ERV, where air is brought in and air is taken out through that one place. And so when it's brought in, we can filter it, we can zap it with ultraviolet rays, and we do all that to make sure all the air coming into the house that's being breathed is clean. And then the air turns about once an hour in the whole house, and so air going out goes out, and then we bring fresh air in.
So that helps, I'd imagine, with stuffiness, stale air, things like that. Okay.
Yeah, and also, we've actually designed a home several years ago for a woman who came in and was sitting in one of our buildings and was very happy with it. And she says, well, I'm going to build with you. I want you to design my home, but I bet you don't know why. And I said, so we tried several different things, and we failed every time. And she said, I have COPD. I only have 40% of my lung capacity, and I can sit in this home and breathe like I can't breathe. And it was in the middle of the summer, which is a tough time for people like that. So the indoor air quality is, in fact, very measurable. They're very quiet buildings, so the noise transmission from outside in is low, but also the air quality, as Tina said, is really good. Many years ago when I was a young man, I designed indoor air quality systems for hospitals and for operating rooms. So we really took a lot of that knowledge that we had in those early days and now have translated that into a residence. And I don't know what the actual statistics are, but whenever you're in a coastal area with older buildings, you're going to find that it's really polluted inside. The EPA tells us that the indoor air quality of a home is probably 10 times more polluted than the outside air. And God forbid we know how outside air is polluted. So what happens though is when you have dirty old attics, and the air is able to float through the house, through electrical outlets, and so if you look at your attic and you see how dirty it is up there, well that air is floating inside your house. And then also from beneath with elevated floors and so forth, you get a lot of stuff down below. And so all those things permeate through the home. It creates mold and mildew. And we've been able to absolutely block that.
Well, you don't even have attics, am I right?
We have eliminated the attic, and our envelope is airtight and fully insulated. So it gives us a great quality air, and even when the pollen is out at its worst part in the spring, you'll find that our whole system, you won't find dust and dirt around the house, and you won't find pollen inside. So we eliminate all those things, and that really helps people that have asthma and any kind of a respiratory problem. And we can save you a lot of energy, but if you're not healthy in terms of air quality, that means a lot more to you than what's in your pocketbook.
Sure, definitely. Okay.
So these are truly healthy air environments that we've created, and we get certified for that. It's not just us, telling you about it. It's for real.
Sure. So you've talked about this, air intake. You actually are a distributor of these systems as well. So when you buy a home using your system, you can actually receive these systems cheaper. Is that right? Can you explain that a little bit more?
We're what's called an OEM distributor for the major systems in the building. So we buy direct from the manufacturer, and then we get really our construction team, which is, Tina is the head of our construction area. And so we're able to get good subcontractors to install it, but we provide all that, and we reduce probably the cost of the equipment by more than 50%. So we're able to give the customer a lot better quality of product for a lesser cost that would be comparable to what's called builder grade equipment. So we pass all those savings on to the customer. We're distributors for the flooring system. We're distributors for all the furniture in the house, for the lighting and all the systems. So that way we're able to build a much better quality house and pass along a lot of the savings and hopefully end up making a little for ourselves.
Definitely. So you can keep doing this. So, for instance, if I were to convert my home and try to do something similar, you're saying that actually a system like the air quality filters and things like that, it would be much more than what you could get. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you start out and try to convert your existing,
which is impossible to get what you have here.
Yeah. So if you were building, let's say, out of stick frame, it'd be very difficult because stick framing is as Tina mentioned earlier, the equivalent. The person that certifies our houses certifies all kinds of homes around for different things. Energy Star, and they've clearly demonstrated that the average stick-built house has leaks coming in from everywhere, from the attic floors and around the windows, that are equivalent to leaving a complete window open. Right. So when you've got that level of infiltration, it's very difficult to seal it up. It's difficult to install these systems. So
it probably wouldn't even work because you have so much air infiltration from every other place in the house.
That's true.
Well, a good point to that is that our solar system, we only require a third of the panels that you would need on a stick-built house. So then it becomes affordable. If you're only buying a third of the panels,
that's true.
Get really good government rebates. We can get the cost of a solar system down to $10,000, where if you're trying to put that same system on a building that's not have the air quality and efficiency in it, it could be $70,000 or $80,000. That's why so few people really can make use of solar, because the houses are just so inefficient in their construction.
And they're inundated with these panels as well. They've just got them all over the roof and the yard, I think is what you mentioned at one point.
Yes, that's very common.
Well, is there anything else you want to add about the homes that you're building? What makes you special? Not you particularly, but your homes. Things that you feel that someone would be interested in if they were interested in a home like yours.
Sure. Well, I think we start to work with the customer on the very front end, and we're fully integrated from the architecture all the way through, as we said, the design, the interiors. We have on-staff people that actually work with our customers to do the color schemes and if they want furnishings and so forth. So we do all that, and then we build it. So we order everything. It's a one-stop shop. So you've really got a project manager to deal with, virtually 24 hours a day that will help you sort through all this stuff. And the fact that you don't have to go everywhere to buy different things, it makes it easier. We love Johns Island. We think it's a fabulous place. Edwin Pearlstein, as a developer out here, has been around for 6 generations, and he's built beautiful land infrastructure. And so we partnered with Edwin to bring the houses to Johns Island. And we feel this is, 526 was recently announced, the extension of that. And so Johns Island is a great place. We're only 15 minutes from downtown. And I think it's being discovered now. And so there's really no one over here building homes, in the price point we're building, that 400 to 700,000. So we've got a unique market here. We've got 155 or 60 homes. It's a beautiful neighborhood, and the proof of that is that 3 of the people that built in here 6-7 years ago are now contracting with us to build a larger, more energy efficient area. And they love it here. It's a really great community. So we've got a nice place to start.
I think, too, you're not going to find another builder that's put together all these systems the way that actually he has. I'm kind of the operations person and follows up and makes sure things happen. But it's very unique what we've put together. You won't find the energy efficiency, the air quality, the attention to detail and everything, all the systems.
Seems so thorough. Obviously, you've given it a lot of thought. You didn't go into this, quickly, obviously. So if someone were to buy a home with you, what I like is that your hand is held throughout this whole process, so that you're not picking what you think would be a good filtration system, but in fact it's not. You seem like pretty much experts in the field. Can you talk about how you became that expert? What interests you about the green kind of community?
Well, I think a couple of things. One is we started out in 2003 designing and building very high-end homes. So we had the experience of touching and feeling people that had an incredible amount of money to invest in their house. And we just saw such a great amount of waste. The systems that were being installed were not really, they were very expensive, but they may not have been designed properly. And so there's just so many things. Building a house is not really all that easy. And for people that have gone through it in the past, they understand there are thousands of decisions you're making. And typically it's a very fragmented business. Maybe you buy some house plans from somebody in South Carolina. You find a builder or you find an architect, and then they find a lot of other people. And so as you're putting all this together, it just takes a long time to sort through it all.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah, and so we built our design center, which was a 27,000 square feet. We had national awards for what we're doing. We brought everything inside so the customer could find it easier to understand what is good and what's not so good. And so we don't build any builder-grade product in anything we do. So we get good systems, and so we just gradually worked it out. We actually came here and are planning to build a factory here that we currently haven't named yet, but it's kind of the home factory. where you can come and pick out everything. And then we designed equipment to fabricate all the wall systems and the interior wall systems and bring them together and assemble them on the site. So we've picked out a location up in Somerville, and that's one of the reasons why we came here. So we can literally, the panels that are in this house and the panels that we put in the house that we looked at earlier take only 5 or 6 hours to make. And so we want the customer to visualize that process, and they can come in and watch them being built. And then conversely, when we assemble them in the field, we can dry a house in less than a week. So that,
wow, and what exactly does that mean?
well, it means that you make it, you seal it from the elements so that when it rains, it's not going to come inside the house. So drying in just means that it's going to be dry. And
makes sense.
Panels come in pre-cut, so it's just like putting a puzzle together once they get to the site, and the guys can put it up very quickly.
I drove through a rainstorm and I saw some tarps on a house, and I thought that's probably not going to be good inside.
No.
well, and the fact that the panels have been, Frank Lloyd Wright in the late 20s actually designed the first structural panels.
Really?
So, yeah, they're very, very durable. They're almost as strong as an I-beam. And so we can actually build our houses up to 200-mile-an-hour winds. And so it's very structurally sound, they're very tight, and then we can design anything that the customer wants. We also can do small hotels and office buildings as well for the commercial side. So.
Back to your question, though, we're both from the education world. I was a college president. He bought the college. So we've done an awful lot of research over the years, finding the best systems and going to trade shows. And
You're well informed.
yeah.
And now so am I.
Well, and it's a passion, too. We've always felt that if you try to do things kind of poorly, you're probably going to get a bad outcome. And so we've kind of raised the bar and set the standard so that, but we're also consumer product driven. That's all we've really done in our life. So we've tried to make this easy for the customer, down to the point of sitting down with a customer and saying, you know, I've got a $2,000 budget. And so we look at it on the basis of, well, you've got $2,000 a month to spend. What's the most house that we can get for you? And so we really take on the responsibility to try to find the best way to give that customer the best value. And conversely with that, you know, you could go to a real estate person, let's say, and say, well, I want to buy something in foreclosure. So those are two extremes. You really are going to probably get what you pay for and what you invest in.
Now, just to touch on kind of the turnaround time, because I know we didn't discuss that, how long, if I were to sign on the dotted line, would it take to get a home like this?
Well, you'd probably start out with Tina's team, and you could spend as little as 2 or 3 weeks or a month. We have some floor plans that we've already designed, and if you find something in there that takes a little bit less time, but we're working with a customer this morning with their banker. The program is that we will have their house designed for them in about 30 days, exactly the way they want it. We'll put it in permitting. We'll construct all the panels from the drawings that we put together. The house will be on site here in Johns Island in 60 days from today. They could be assembling panels, and it will take for their house about probably overall 90 to 120 days. So they can get it just the way they want it. And so we're working kind of toward a 4-month cycle.
And you actually have a shell on the property right now where someone could buy it, like you talked about, and customize it completely after they purchase that kind of scenario. How long do you think that would take?
Well, it would take probably 60 days to complete it. So we're building a lot of our eco shells that are ready for a customer to, you know, they're finished on the outside, the landscaping is in, so they can come in and really spend their time designing
fun stuff.
Yeah, all the fun stuff, exactly. Someone said that the other day. So you've taken all the hassles out of it, of finding the land and designing the building, and we like the building, so let's work on the inside. And you know, people like different sized dining rooms. They like the master down or the master up, and so those are things that makes it very easy for us to design it exactly the way they want. We see tremendous differences in the age of people and what their requirements are, and trying to fit them into to try to search and find a resale in the right place that you want to live in, on the right price of land, and putting all those things together is daunting for a lot of people. So we're making it a lot easier and hopefully more fun. And we also know that 8 out of 9 people don't want to build a new house. So only 1 out of 9 wants to take that on. So we're trying to make our system much more user-friendly, a better quality process, so that we can start to show people that might be thinking only about a resale to come out and look at what we're doing. And then we can design it the way they want it, exactly the way they want to live, and well within their budget as well. And so we're just trying to make that process consumer friendly.
Does your website have a lot of information on like how to move forward with a home like this?
Sure, we give you a good overview of the systems and things we're doing, but there's nothing like setting an appointment, coming out. As you saw today, you've been all over our website and you're very familiar with everything going on in the market. And I think once you can walk in and touch and feel it, it becomes your decision as to whether this is for you or you want to do something else.
Okay, well, if the first step is the website, what's the website address that you have?
It's Amerisips, AMERISIPS.com.
And if they want to set up an appointment, what's your phone number?
637-4311.
And if they call, would they reach either of you? I mean, you've got a... Exactly. Yeah, your operation's, 20 people? Okay. So obviously you'd be working with the same people every time. You talk to the same people. You want to know more information, they can actually talk to you guys, right?
Absolutely.
You've got your hands in everything. Jack of all trades, right?
Jack of all trades.
Well, thank you so much for having me today, and I'm really excited about writing this article now.
We're really pleased that you would select us to do this, and we're grateful that to see the exposure and to tell people more about what we're doing and let them come out and take a look for themselves.
This is a fascinating niche, I think, of the home building market, and I think you've really got your kind of finger on the pulse, I think. So, well, thank you so much.